Good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Rick, Broadman Baptist Church. This is the Broadman Word for December 18th, 2023. Can't believe 2023 is almost over. What an amazing year it's been. So much has gone on. Can't even really think to summarize it all right now. It seems like the years are going by faster and faster all the time. Today I wanted to talk to you about a concept called moving forward, because we are approaching the new year, and it's that time of year where people start reflecting on things and thinking about whether they need any changes in their lives, and they're going to redouble their efforts to do all kinds of things, exercise more, lose weight, eat better, whatever. You've heard it all. And it's usually something physical, stopping smoking, whatever. But we also know that most of these resolutions tend to end up failing. In fact, I did just a tiny bit of research and found some other research that indicates it's a lot less successful than you would think. Most people don't make it very far in their New Year's resolutions. Research suggests that only about 9% success rate on a New Year's resolution, and in fact, about 23% of folks quit in the first week, and about 43% of people are done by the end of January. So it's not a very good success rate. There's 4 reasons that have been identified mostly for our failure with these resolutions. And the first thing is you have to personally identify a need for change, not just something you might want to change. Maybe you don't like the way you look, you want to lose a little weight. That's a big one, I'm sure. Maybe you think you ought to be a little healthier, so you want to exercise more, whatever it is. Identifying something that you might want to change is different than understanding that there's an actual need for change. The kind of transformational process from getting yourself in a position where you can look at something and say, yeah, that probably needs to change, to where you're understanding that it is a need for change. And so that's big. And it's based in that need for change is where you're going to start to find the roots of some success, not just tradition because it's New Year's or getting close to New Year's and you want to, change something. That's not going to work. You have to identify a need for change. Your goals have to be rooted in something deeper than just wishing to change or the tradition of New Year's or anything else. It's got to be deeper than that. So, all right. Number 2 is failure to properly identify obstacles. So with number 1, you need to transformationally understand that you have a need to change your Christian life. You have an area of your Christian life where you're not developing, not maturing, not spiritually growing, not performing as you know God would want you to, not living out the walk that He set before you, not using the gift or the equipment that He's given you to perform the tasks and work that He wanted you to do. So you have to understand that there's a need to change that. Then number 2, going about your new walk, because let's just assume that you have gotten yourself to the point where you understand a need for change, deep spiritual level change, but there's going to be pushback. The passage from John has famously from Jesus said, if the world hates you, remember it hated me first. And then it goes on to detail, that you're going to be cast out. and hated because of his name. You know, if you belong to the world, they would love you, but since you don't, since he's called you out of the world, then they don't love you. In fact, some folks may hate you, and that's going to present obstacles. There's going to be pushback, there's going to be persecutions. Taken on randomly and as it happens, and not having had forethought into it, it's going to put you at a disadvantage, and it's going to run high risk for knocking you off of your goal. You have to transformationally wish to change, then you have to plan for that change and what's going to come with it. You have to anticipate the people, the times, the situations, and the events that are going to likely produce some kind of a pushback, some criticism, some rejection, some outright rebellion against God and you for speaking about God. Haters of the truth. If you have thought about this in advance and you've gone about constructing a plan, at least in general, maybe not all the details and specifics, but at least in general, you've got a plan to navigate or overcome these obstacles. Well, now you got a fighting chance. Now, in fact, you have a good chance of succeeding if your plan is well thought out and well executed. Without a well thought out, well executed plan, you're in danger. Your likelihood of failing goes way up. So we need to do that, and then always we need to keep in mind Romans 12:2. That says, do not conform to the constructs of this age, right? Or the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and improve the will of God, the good, pleasing, and perfect will. And it goes on a little bit from there. Well, how do you evaluate whether what you're doing is working or not? Well, if you're not conformed to the patterns of this world, and you are in fact, as Jesus said in John when he's talking about people hating you, you have in fact been called out of the world by him. Then you follow through with Romans 12:2, and you refuse to be conformed to the patterns of this world. You then have the ability to see what's coming and see the persecution or the pushback or anything in between. And then you can measure your successes and your failures. So there's that. And number 3 is taking on too big of a challenge all at once. You know, you decide, okay, I need to spiritually grow and mature. I need to evangelize more. I need to be a brighter light. I need to be more of an ambassador. I need to really pick up my cross and go, right? I want to win this race, like Paul tells us. Well, that's a big ask. It's admirable. It's a big ask, particularly if you've not been doing those things for perhaps decades as a Christian, and now you're just going to do it, going to get on your horse and ride. That is almost certainly doomed for failure. You need to be able to take small steps and progress along as you transform into this new being that you have recognized you need to be. This new life that you've recognized. You know, you've probably already, if you're listening to this and thinking about these things, you've probably already accepted Christ, been baptized, so you are in fact a new creation. But what we're going to do now is we're going to transform that new creation. We're going to grow it, build it, develop it into what God wanted it to be in the first place. So you have to take steps daily towards that goal. It's actually called sanctification, daily step towards your Christ-like existence, your dedication towards growing and spiritually maturing daily, getting closer to Christ-likeness as much as you can. And so that's step number 3, is to have small measurable goals that you can accomplish. Those accomplishments will make you feel good. They'll spur you on. They'll make you more dedicated to accomplishing the overall mission. And you have something that you can build on. So I've read the Bible through cover to cover a couple of times. Not run into a scripture yet that says I'm supposed to save the whole world. That's kind of God level stuff. There's a ton of scripture, though, that says I'm supposed to do my job every day. And in that, God can use the products of those efforts himself to do the God level saving of the world things. And then lastly, we need accountability. You have to remember that God is watching everywhere all the time. There's nothing, no matter how secret or private you think it is, that he doesn't know about. And so there's some built-in accountability if you fail in this endeavor to, be truly a new Christian, to be a transformed Christian, to have a complete new understanding of what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ, a member of his church, a part of a congregation, and then the overall, world concept of being part of the worldwide church of Jesus Christ. In order to get there, there has to be some sense of accountability. You have to feel responsible to somebody or to something, probably both, in order for you to maintain the kind of motivation and the kind of passion necessary to bring about these kinds of changes. And so we have to have some sort of accountability mechanism. God and Jesus are fine, but perhaps a worldly one, more tangible to you, more real, somebody who would be there and let you know how it's going, what they see, somebody you trust, somebody who can be your accountability partner and help you along in this change that you're undertaking. So those are the 4 things that we need to do in order to be able to have a truly new year with a new self, because if you don't do any one of those 4 things, your chances of failure go way up, and then you end up backsliding into your old ways for yet another year until another New Year's comes around and you say, well, maybe this year. And then, of course, it won't be. So we have to employ these steps, these safeguards, to make sure that we are successful. I've got a little quote for you. I don't often use my own quotes, but I've got one here for you today. And it applies to what we've been talking about. I'd like you to keep it in mind while you're going about this transformational change in your Christianity. It is, in order to be a transformational force for the gospel of Jesus Christ, you must first be transformed yourself. In order to speak transformational words, you must first understand your authority to speak them. In order to present transformational words to your persecutors, you must first live them. So keep that in mind, brothers and sisters, as you go about thinking what you're going to try to do in the new year, what you're going to accomplish, what your God resolution is going to be. Not your New Year's resolution. That's worldly human stuff that's very likely to fail. What's your God resolution going to be? Hey, listen, I love you. You have a marvelous day. I'll talk to you next time.